So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Metagross. It actually got a pretty decent buff in Psychic Fangs. You used to have to rely on Zen Headbutts but with the shaky accuracy and 80 base power, but now you've got Psychic Fangs that's consistent, will always hit, and 85 base power, so just very slightly stronger, and that will come into play quite a few times. So Psychic Fangs for Metagross, that's really nice for it as well. Another nice thing for Metagross is that it is able to run Heavy Slam uncontested. You wouldn't run it previously in the last generation because of Dynamax, because Heavy Slam just fails on Dynamax Pokemon. Now that is no longer an issue, and Metagross is so heavy, Heavy Slam is better than Iron Head. You'll do way more damage most of the time with Heavy Slam, so it's absolutely worth considering over Iron Head. You sacrifice both of your flinching moves, but Metagross is reasonably slow, so you weren't going to be flinching too much anyway without your Mega Form, and obviously that is not available. Assault is surely the way to go on Metagross. It's got very good defenses. Average special defense, easily patched up by an Assault Vest. And you want to be running loads of coverage as well on Metagross, so Assault Vest is surely the way to go. You get Clear Body, which means you can't be intimidated by all those Incineroars that are going to be running around, so then you can be able to respond with a pretty powerful Stomping Tantrum. You'll easily live a Flare Blitz with your base 130 defense, and you can always just Terrastallize away from that weakness as well. So this is actually still pretty reasonable into Incineroar. Even though you're weak to both of its stabs, it's still perfectly fine into Incineroar because of Clear Body and just terroring out of it. Heavy Slam and Psychic Fang should be mandatory. Stomping Tantrum really should be there most of the time purely because of Incineroar, and then Bullet Punch, that's priority to just pick off weakened targets. You should absolutely have that as well. So I would argue that these are almost certainly the correct 4 moves on a Metagross. Depends on whether you want to just bulk it out or go with a bit of speed as well. Because this speed investment will outspeed Gem Powers and Flutter Mains in Tailwind. You can also go just a little bit further as well to be able to outspeed Choice Scarf Landorus. It will just depend on what you need for your team. Whether you are comfortable sacrificing the bulk and the attack in order to do that. Terra Fairy, I should say, is probably the best defensive Terra type on Metagross. It's immune to poison and resist steel originally, and then this is really good for dark type attacks that would want to hit Metagross. Steel is worth considering as well if you have Bullet Punch. Bullet Punch is not strong enough to be able to just OHKO a Flutter Mane, but with Terra Steel it is. So if you are needing that to be something for your team, Terra Steel is worth considering, and you get extra damage on Heavy Slam, of course. These are some alternative moves. This is not a recommended moveset. These are just other moves that can fit onto an Assault Vest. Like I said, those are probably the best 4. It will be quite hard to fit any of these on there. I would say that Hammer Arm is probably the easiest to fit on in place of Stomping Tantrum. It's stronger into Incineroar than Stomping Tantrum is. It can miss, so I wouldn't. I would go for the consistency of Stomping Tantrum for sure. But the other alternatives are pretty reasonable. Hard Press and brand new move, just like Ring Outs and Crush Grip is the sentence I was going for. It is worth considering over Heavy Slam, but Heavy Slam is surely going to be way more consistent than Hard Press is. Terra Blast with Terra Fairy or Terra Water is the other recommended one. Would be worth as just extra coverage or whatever coverage you need. Ice Punch OHKOs Landorus because you can't get intimidated, so that would be something that your team may need. You should only really have Ice Punch if you have a Metagross that can outspeed a Choice Scarf Landorus in Tailwind. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. Earthquake is spread. If you've got flying Pokemon next to you, then Earthquake is as strong as Stomping Tantrum into that single target Incineroar. Well, not single target, I'll rephrase that. Into the Incineroar is the same power of the Stomping Tantrum while also hitting the opponent Pokemon as well. Obviously, yours have some flying types. Knockoff is just good utility because Terra Dark is also worth considering on Metagross because then that's able to resist dark type attacks as well. And then you get extra power on your Knockoff. Icy Wind and Trailblaze, they're pretty niche. Extra speed control for yourself or your partners. Metagross is probably too slow to make use of Icy Wind. So these are still worthwhile moves, and so are these. But this is surely got to be the best moveset on Metagross. I'll also mention as well, this is a really good Psy Spam answer. You don't have to have a Dark type, you can just have a Quad Resistance as well.